Giannis Malacas. Giannis. Έλα εδώ, μαλάκα πούστη. Come. Y'all don't know Greek, do you? Can you speak Greek? Can anybody out there speak Greek? Anyway,
I
if you
just
can,
understood Giannis.
yeah. If anybody can, you knew what I just said. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with the King. You guys know what to do. Follow us: Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok now, apparently. Thanks, Arturus. And YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. So go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. We're still waiting for 750 subs so I can give away that sweater. It's sitting right here, and I'm just waiting to give it away because I got so much more in the pipeline. To give away for you guys. And thank you guys for supporting our fantastic guests, especially this celebrity right there.
No.
The head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers? No, wait, no, it's actually all the way from the East Coast to your home, the one and only Coach Roach. How you doing today, my brother?
Well, a lot going on in the NBA, that's for sure. No news in the Raptor land in the last 48 hours. Just being sarcastic right now. Just plenty of Raptor news in the last 48 hours with
Yeah, nothing in the
as our
pipeline.
as our esteemed host spoke in Greek. I don't know the name of the language, but we'll go with that, I guess.
Yeah, I used a couple curse words in there. But
Uh,
but coach, I asked you to come on because listen, man, you and I as former coaches, we see things differently than actual fans, right? When we see what is transpired on the court. Now, when it comes to, since this podcast is Raptor centric, is I wanted to ask you what we've seen so far this past season, which I hate to say it's over, right? But from what we've seen with the young player, those 5 rookies, you got the AJ Lawsons, you got the 905, and like I alluded to when I said pipeline, what do you see from this young team that what you witnessed so far this year? You're on trial right now. Let's go. You're on the stand.
I see a team of young players who work hard.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be getting pushed by the coaching staff, which is good. And this was year one of a rebuild. You have to start somewhere. And you want to start building with these young players by giving them time, giving them reps, letting them make mistakes. This is a crucial off season.
Wait, you're not Nick Nurse? You're not going to run the starters down to 42 minutes? Okay, cool. I
No.
multiple timeline. Go on.
Yeah, no, 42 minutes. You're asking, that's disastrous. So that's not sustainable. But I love what I've seen from Jacoby Walter this year. He surpassed my expectations just from what I saw in college. Jamal Shed, that leadership, National Defensive Player of the Year in college. Jamison Battle, the undrafted rookie. I think he's going to carve out a 10-year career just shooting threes, and he'll do it. And Shamshi and Mobo, those guys have some work to do. It was too bad we never got to see Shamshi at the end of the year because he got hurt. Because that would have been valuable development for him. And he's the 57th pick, but there's talent there. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in Summer League and seeing all these guys in Summer League, hopefully, continuing to develop their games.
You know what? Listen, I'll just say this. I'm extremely optimistic about what the Raptors have done with the young guys. I'm watching it. I was on a couple live streams the other night when the ping pong balls were going, and I was on Raptors Freak and Nelly J. Shout out to my homegirl, the Queen, right? But I did have to say this. what the Raptors are doing with the young players, it's a lot of Toronto fans are like, fire this person, get rid of that person, trade this person, trade that person, get rid of this, get rid of that, forget the young players, blah 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 blah. They want instant gratification, but while you're thinking about your breakfast, Masai's thinking about his dinner tomorrow. Okay, that's what he's already planning for. Now, when it comes to speaking of planning, right? Coach, you're from the East Coast, so when you see one of those restaurants pop up and they're like a buck a shuck, right? And you can get that deal, right? And you're gonna go in hard. I would rather say maybe souvlaki, some gyro, some moussaka, saganaki. Sorry, I'm going back Greek again. What do you think about these young players that have been proving themselves, that have now become valuable assets to get the Greek freak? Coach, you wanted to talk about this? Go for it, brother. The floor is yours.
Well, those particular young players I just mentioned, I'm not sure if they are in a deal for Giannis. There's only one who would have to be in a deal for Giannis, and that's the franchise guy. It would have to be Scottie. Got to make the money work. Got to try to supplement the talent to send back. So that's what it would cost you. It would probably cost you Scottie and Grady in picks to get Giannis, and you have to make the money work, of course. It's a big, big decision to make. Giannis, best player in the world, arguably best two-way player in the world, offensively, and then, of course, what he brings defensively. He's an international star. He's not American. That's what's different about this. The thing before with Kevin Durant and Dame Lillard, they're not Giannis. There is a potential fit here on many levels with Giannis in Toronto, and
especially on the
some will say there might be, but that's a tough decision to make if you're front office. You've committed to a rebuild, and that goes out the window. Because if you get Giannis, you are going for a title next year. You don't get Giannis and get the 10th seed or 8th seed. No, you're going for a top 3 seed. So I'm curious to see what this front office will do, because we've been told work to rebuild. It's Brandon Ingram, which I get. A little bit of mixed messaging there, but if Giannis is available, I mean, you have to listen. Obviously, you have to listen. Yeah, how serious is he wanting? Yeah, how serious is he wanting to come to Toronto? We know the relationship with him and Masai Ujiri. I think Masai Ujiri helped get his passport to come to America.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, best players in the world don't come around too much in their prime. Just saying.
But do you think the Raptors have a decent enough supporting cast if they were to dive deep into getting the Malacca to bring him here?
They would have. I think they would have enough.
Do you think they're able to, or do you think they still need to build a little bit more?
I think they have the player equity to make the deal. They have all their picks now from some of the trades they've made. Scottie would have to be in this deal. He has his new contract. So, and I'm sure Milwaukee would be enticed by that, because the other team is Brooklyn, that's rumored, in the East anyway. We have better player equity than
Houston,
Brooklyn.
Toronto, and San Antonio.
Yeah. Now the Spurs, if they really want to make that move, they could. They probably have the chips. But Toronto's get the player equity to do so. This is going to get very interesting over the next month and a half.
You know what? Listen, I would love to see Giannis come here, right? I'd love to take him around the Danforth and show him like some really good Greek spots to go eat, right? I'm pretty sure he'd be fed. But the issue is, like you just said, I would have a hard time, like most. Well, I'm not a Raptors fan, but as Raptors fans would have a hard time letting go of Scottie Barnes, because if we were looking at it from the last year and a half, we would, couple years now, right, we would probably say, like, this is the direction we were going, that we were all going to follow Scottie, like he's the Pied Piper, right? And we're all going to be behind him. We would say that as Raptors fans, so it would be kind of tough to let that go. So that would be an extremely rough decision for Masai to make, Masai and Bobby.
Yes.
Right? That would be extremely hard after everything they put in by blowing up the core from the 2019 championship, right? In order to go to follow behind Scottie, and in order to be adding pieces like the RJs, the IQ, drafting Grady, getting Brandon, all these guys to come to be supporting pieces for Scottie. So it might be a little bit of a shock, and I think it'll be a very, very tough decision from the front office. Now, I want to ask you, fellow coach, right? If you were to have Giannis, what capacity would you have him in, considering that we have a skilled point guard in IQ, we have a rim rocker, well, someone that get into the paint at the 2 in RJ, we have Brandon Ingram, who's a scorer, not efficient, but a scorer at the 3. Where would you fit Giannis in? Would you fit him at the 5 or the 4?
He'd have to play the 4, and I say that because I don't want him to wear down during the year. If you play him at the 5, he's going to be guarding Jokic and Embiid and all these bigs. I would not want that for Giannis.
Embiid?
What we know is...
You mean when he plays, right?
When he plays, yes, of course. But what we know is that Giannis has done well with a stretch big. Look at the last 7 years of the Milwaukee Bucks. They've been a 50 to 55 plus win team. Last time I checked, Jakob Poeltl doesn't shoot outside of 10 feet. That could be an issue, and they might want to address that.
I love that he's a good inside guy, but go on.
I don't mind it, but the pairing with Giannis that to me is a little concern, because you need some floor spacers. Ingram can provide that. I kind of think of Ingram in like that Chris Middleton role when Chris Middleton was there and he was healthy. Mm-hmm. Like he can get a bucket just like Ingram. Okay. If you keep an RJ Barrett, RJ has improved every year he's been here. And you got quickly a little bit in that. I'm not comparing him to this guy, but he's a little bit in that Dame role, like that pull-up 3. So you would technically, I'm just assuming that's the roster. You would have pieces, I think, to put around Giannis. Now you'd have to do some work if you're going all in. Like, you don't get Giannis to make 5th in the East. You get Giannis to finish top 3 in the East and to compete for a title, because you have him for 3 years. He's 3 years. It's not a Kawhi situation where you get him and he leaves. He's here for 3 years.
Yeah, and he's already got a ring.
He got one. I'm sure he wouldn't mind having another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
just
go on.
Yeah. Masai Ujiri loves to go, as our friend Beyond says, he loves to go big game hunting. Kevin Durant, Dame Lillard.
Well, he grew up in Africa, so gotta go big game hunting.
Right. He goes for the big fish in the NBA. I give him credit for really trying to lure, because it's not easy to lure these guys to Canada. Some of them are even saying, some of these guys are even saying in the draft combine, well, I hear Canada's got high taxes. Just give that nonsense up. You're coming here to play basketball. You're gonna make money and stuff like that. And I don't like that narrative. Toronto has so much to offer. You got one of the top cities in the world, an international city, a diverse city. Like,
yes,
we are on that level
of city in the world, and the 4th largest in North America.
Yeah, we are like an LA or a New York in that capacity. And I get tired of that narrative. And that's one thing I'm glad that Masai Ujiri has always said. Like, this is a great city. We are making this a great basketball destination for players. And certainly if you add Giannis to that mix, you're going to have some guys kind of maybe clamoring more to come here in general. But again, it's a really difficult decision to make as you've committed to a rebuild. You just paid Scottie, and I just think you'd have to give him up in that deal. And I don't know if I see it happening. I don't know if I foresee it happening, but if that's the case, that Giannis does want to come here, they're going to have to consider that. You don't say no to a top 2 or 3 player in the world and say, no, we good.
How would you feel if the Raps gave up the whole frickin', well, I could say it now, we're this far into YouTube. How would you say if the Raps gave up the whole fucking bench to keep Scottie and get Giannis? What would you say to that? Hold on.
Gotta make the money work.
Ugh, okay. Hey, man, MLSC, they got the money. They just don't want to spend it. They got the money. They just don't want to spend it. Right?
Yeah.
Did I just smoke some crack or something? Like, is that a pipe dream? And you could give up most of the bench, all these young players that have proven their worth, and some picks for Giannis to play alongside Scottie, RJ, IQ, and Brandon Ingram? Whoa. What would you say to that, buddy?
I mean, obviously, you could do it, but the CBA, I don't think the collective bargaining agreement will allow you. You have to come within like 6 to 8 million of it or something like that. And Scottie makes the most money on the team. You have to be included in the deal. And again, I'm not advocating for it. I don't see it happening. But if a top 3 player in the world comes call and says, you know what, I'm pretty interested in Toronto, you're going to listen. You'd be stupid not to. You're not just going to hang up the phone and say, we're good. It's a tough decision. That's a very difficult decision to make. And I would understand either way because there's more at play than just Giannis. Masai's up at the end of this year, coming, his contract.
Yep.
Which I don't think Giannis is going to come here if he's going to leave. That is one indication. If he's coming here, Masai's staying 100%.
Yeah. See, the whole Giannis factor, the way the Raptors have been trying to go, it's a huge change in the course of direction, right? It's a major change, right? It's like at a crossroads, right? It'd go that way or that way, right? So it depends on what the contingency plans for the Raptors are if they were to get Giannis, or if they were to lose out on Giannis. Maybe they'll stick the course, right? But if they were to get Giannis, that would totally change the culture of this team, would totally change the style of play. Like honestly, if you think they get Giannis, you think they're going to keep all these rookies as pieces? Bro, I'm telling you, they'll have to go out there and make some more changes in order to get experienced players, right, that have been there, done that, right, that will complement Giannis and can propel the Toronto Raptors out there. I know a lot of Raptors fans out there, you want everything done right now, instant gratification, instead of trusting the process, but it depends. If Giannis doesn't come, you got to trust the process. If Giannis does come, now it's do or die. Coach, thoughts on that one before we get out of here, buddy? Because your time's ticking. You got to go do that work.
Yeah. Look, you get Giannis, you're top 3, especially what just happened to Jason Tatum. Boston is in flux for next year. That leaves you with maybe Cleveland, maybe New York, maybe Indiana, but you're in the mix with those teams. If you get, excuse me. And then you add a Brandon Ingram. Can't speak for RJ or some of the other pieces because, like you said, if that deal goes down, other deals will probably have to happen. But you're in the mix, the top 4 mix next year, and you are, I don't know if we become the favorite in the East, but you're right there in the East with a talent like Giannis, and you have him during his prime. I think Giannis is probably 2 to 3 more years of this high-level basketball, which is basically the best player in the world, the best two-way player in the world, and it's about putting the pieces in front of him. But at the same time, if something like that does not go down, then we go back to what the plan was 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
All steam, full steam ahead with the rebuild. My expectation for them is to make the play-in tournament. That's my minimum expectation. You don't get Brandon Ingram to finish 12th in the East. You get Brandon Ingram to make the play-in, and if you can move up the 6th, fantastic. But all exactly. You're still going in that direction regardless. But if Giannis comes in, everything changes. It is for the next 3 years. We are competing for a title.
I like that, Coach. And you, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, Coach just hit me with this before I hit recording in progress. With this whole Giannis thing, so this is interesting to explore because I said it last time Giannis's contract was expiring, and I've said it on the show. You guys go check the archive. I begged them to come here. I was like, Elado Malaka, Elado, right? You know, I was begging him to come here. I would love to see Giannis here. I would love that, right? Especially with the way Toronto would accept him, and you know, it could be a pipe dream, or it could be a reality, right? We don't know yet. And if you do know out there, do me a favor, DM me, send me some lotto numbers, because I could use a couple bucks. But realistically, the NBA landscape when it comes to these big time free agents, when they come, well, not free agents, but big time players that are about to leave the team and nobody knows where they're going, right? It gets really tricky and finicky, and we're not sure. We can hope for the best here in Toronto, okay? But we also have to prepare for the worst. Coach, you don't have much time, man. Before you go, would you like to say anything you want? As long as it's not something bad that where YouTube will cut us off. Say whatever the hell you want to the people out there about what we've spoken about today. Floor is yours.
Kevin Durant wanted to go to Brooklyn. It happened. James Harden wanted to go there at the time, and then he wanted to go to Philly. It happened. Point I'm trying to make is superstars get to pick where they want to go. If Giannis wants to go to Toronto, and there's a bit of a mutual agreement with him or mutual desire between him and Masai Ujiri, it will happen. If he wants to go to Brooklyn, it will happen. If he wants to go to San Antonio, it will happen. This is kind of in Giannis's court right now, where he wants to go. That's the superstar treatment. LeBron chose to go back to Cleveland. He chose to go to LA. I'm just saying that's part of the superstar treatment. You get to pick where you want to go.
That's exactly what I was talking about on my last video. You guys check that out when I spoke about LeBron. It is what it is. Coach, is that all for you?
That's it, man.
Okay. All I gotta say is, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for loving. My man, the celebrity right there. We gotta get him a star on the Walk of Fame in Toronto.
No.
I will pay for it. If I had the money, I would pay for it, dude. Yes, just for you.
Put it on Bay Street. Is that what it's called in Toronto? I don't know.
What are you talking about? It's on King Street, man.
Oh, it's on King. I don't know.
It's on King Street.
King Street.
University, bro.
Oh, come on. I had no idea.
Coach, I know you came from the East Coast. What? Okay.
I had no idea we had a Walk of Fame in Canada.
You know what? I'm gonna rent out a bus and both of us can sit on the top of it and just look at the stuff with cameras. Okay, like we just came from Japan. Click, 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 click. Right. Oh my goodness, brother! I always love talking to you, but I know, ladies and gentlemen, the coach has to go do God's work right now. So let's let him out of here, out of the cage of To The Point. So on behalf of myself, the coach, the To The Point family, if you are watching, that's what I consider you. And if you've been a guest, I also consider you that. So on behalf of myself and everybody else, even Skip, right? You know that guy? That guy, he's dead. Anyway, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and